Why is it that some Christians are able to move on from toxic relationships while others stay stuck in their hurt feelings? Maybe you've suffered for so long that you don't even know what happiness feels like. Now, before you go thinking that God's forgotten you, or worse, getting angry at Him, I want to break down for you 3 very powerful insights as to why this hurt may be lingering more than you'd like, and the prayer that could change everything. Now, to do that, I need to share with you what happens when you touch a hot iron. Don't worry, it's not actually hot. But if you're like every other normal person on the planet, you cringed when I did that. Why? Because you know how much that hurts. But how did you know it hurts? Well, if you're as stubborn and stupid as me, it's likely because you have touched one of these at some point in your life, despite how many times your mama told you not to. And once you did, that pain was excruciating. Maybe you even needed to go to the hospital. And I'm going to take a wild guess, and you never touched it again. Well, the same is true for toxic relationships. We enter into them knowing the potential problems, ignoring the red flags, and then we slide right in to the sizzle. Well, what do you think would happen if God just took away those painful feelings, erased them from your memory, wiped them from your emotional hard drive? You'd probably do it again, because you'd have no memory of how painful it was. So yes, God will allow those feelings to linger to teach you. Now, I'm not saying that what they did to you was okay or that it was even excusable, but ignoring this valuable insight is like being offered a ride in a luxury car, but choosing a piggyback ride instead. But even with those valuable lessons learned, the second insight that I'm about to share with you will be pointless if you don't understand the ultimate goal. And missing this will cause most Christians to completely backslide during a difficult time. And if you're like me, you use your GPS for everything, even when you know exactly where to go and how to get there. And again, if you're anything like me, if your GPS tells you to go one way that differs from where you think you should go, you just ignore it. I told you I wasn't smart. And what happens? Well, more often than not, you're stopped by a traffic jam or maybe even something worse. That's because the GPS knows the roadblocks and the delays that you could run into. And I'm sure you figured it out by now. Your hurt feelings are the roadblocks and God is your GPS. Look, God doesn't always remove the roadblocks because they actually serve His purpose. And just like His purpose for the Israelites in the Red Sea and the wilderness wasn't to harm them, but rather to draw them closer to Him. So could it be that God wants to be your guiding light on this journey of healing? My friend, don't miss an amazing relationship opportunity because you're upset that He's not just teleporting you to your next destination. Now, you may be saying to me, Kris, that's great. I've learned my lesson. I've made my way back to God, but what is the point in keeping me in pain for so long? Well, that question can best be answered by Sam. So Sam was a trainer I hired when I had my old personal training business, and Sam was highly educated. She graduated at the top of her class in biomechanics, and she could tell you about anything that had to do with anatomy, from the function of the hip flexors in relation to the knee upon deceleration to the distal insertion point of the femur. There was only one problem. She had zero life experience. She couldn't relate to our clients who came to us just wanting to get rid of their dad guts and grandma arms. So her education meant nothing to them. They wanted someone who could get them results, but also empathize with their struggle. And to empathize, you kind of have to understand. And for many of us, me included, we often have to experience it to understand it. So is it possible that you've had to go through what you've endured because God wants to use you? Let's face it, this channel is one of your favorites. I hope. Because I understand what you're going through, and we both share the same desire to work through the toxic nonsense with biblical truth. I've been there, got the t-shirt, went back for seconds. So you're here because not only did I walk this journey, but I walked it with God. And I came out, and still coming out, on the other side, exactly where you want to be. So who knows? You could be to someone else what I am to you right now. Look, I get what you're going through, and it hurts me to see you stuck. That's why I want to share with you the prayer that changed everything for me. When I was stuck in the muck of my hurt feelings, I stopped begging God to take it away, and this is what I prayed. I said, God, let these lessons not be wasted, and use this pain for your purpose. And now that you know the reason God may be letting your feelings linger longer, it's time to understand God's plan after a toxic relationship. And to learn more about the 3 steps in God's relationship detox, go ahead and watch this episode next. And I want to invite you to grab a copy of our Toxic People Survival Guide. It is my free gift to you to help you identify and deal with all the difficult people in your life. I will go ahead and include a link in the description section below.